Welcome to Siso Art. You're looking at an acrylic painting that I recently completed as a commission, and I loved it so much. I missed it when it was gone and decided to do another for myself and to make a video of the process. This is the reference photo that I got from Pixabay. It's birds of paradise. I do want to simplify the foliage in the background and simplify some of the petals. I'm using a Stay Wet palette, including the Stay Wet sheets. It works so well for acrylics. Your paints will stay flexible, movable, blendable, stirrable, paintable for weeks, especially if you store it after each use in the refrigerator. I've drawn the flowers only on the canvas, just using a plain old number 2 pencil. I'm using green and black to make a dark color to outline in the background leaves. I do go ahead and make those straight lines through the foreground drawing just so that my lines have some symmetry, because I know that I can lift off that color just using a clean wet brush and then wipe that off with a paper towel. I'm still working on these background leaves and just adding in some yellows to lighten up the colors. In case I didn't mention it, this is a 24-inch by 30-inch gallery wrapped canvas. It's a good quality one, however, it was still a medium texture and I wanted it to be a little bit smoother, so I applied 2 coats of gesso and sanded lightly after each coat. There's a lot of smooth blending in this painting, so having the smoother texture makes the blending process much easier. So I'm still using this dark green to block in the basic shapes of these leaves. And even though there are times that I'm just kind of throwing some color on there, I do go back and stroke in the direction of the veins of the leaves. It's important for this layer and the subsequent layers as well. I'm blocking in the upper portion of the painting with a mixture of pale blue, ultramarine blue, a touch of cad red medium, and some white. This color here is a combination of pale blue, ultramarine blue, just a tiniest touch of red, and white. And I made a rather substantial pile of it, taking advantage of the properties of my Stay Wet palette. That way I can use it later for corrections and I don't have to try to rematch that color or mix up a new batch to match that color, which is, again, one of the advantages of the Stay Wet palette. I'm just spraying water in this Delta Ultra Fine Mist water sprayer, which I got from Dick Blake online. I think it was about $8. I love it. It works really, really well. But I know I want this down here darker so that the light color of this pod will show. And I want green and red and some of this blue. So I'm just gonna kind of hodgepodge some stuff. And I'm actually gonna add some medium to it. I'll try this. This is a really old bottle of Liquitex Slow Dry Blending Fluid Medium, but it'll work. I think it's best on your bottom layers to not use straight water as a thinning agent, or rather a lot of water as a thinning agent, because then you can, if you vigorously scrub a thin bottom layer, it'll lift right off. And I've watched several videos and gone to the websites of the paint manufacturers and all that, and they talk about the chemical bond of the acrylic molecules, and if you use too much water, it'll break down. So I believe it. I've seen it. I've lived it. It's really frustrating if you're 2 or 3 layers or 4 or 5 layers into it and stuff starts lifting off because you use too much water on your base layer. Okay, this line right here is pretty important because this is such a random color, it would be hard to match. So let me correct this. And this is just a makeup brush, which I love. It's Wet n Wild, and it doesn't shed hairs like a lot of your high dollar blender brushes do, which is crazy because this thing costs, I think I got on sale for $1.50, so I have about 10 of them. Anyway, so it's a new day, and I decided that this leaf right here needs to be a little bit bigger because this was the vein right here, and I think it'll compete with the spikes of the flower petals. So and the leaves on these plants, when you look at a real photo of it, are often really, really large. So I'm going to make this leaf bigger. I'm going to clean up some of these edges a little bit and then start on the flowers themselves. So it's finally time to start blocking in the petals of the flowers themselves using various combinations of cadmium yellow and cadmium red. Paint was still wet. I probably shouldn't have started there. The green was still wet. So I guess I'll wait to do those. And instead I'm going to do this big one down here, which is kind of a purpley blue, although it's got a little bit of orange. This is that pale blue in the Master's Touch. And this is a roll of the petal. It's really vibrant red, but this is the shadow under it. This is another one of those Artist Loft paintbrushes. It's number 2. It's pretty springy. I'm going to start off with my Cad Red Light. That's wet. Well, the beauty of acrylics is you can layer, which is a good thing when you got shaky hands from too much coffee in the morning. Should have gotten out my wooden dowel to use as a maul stick, but that's okay. I almost never do anything in one layer. It's lots of adjustments and corrections and changing my mind. I love these Cad Reds. They are so vibrant. I saw that they've come out with non-Cad Reds, so they're not as toxic. And I saw a demonstration on YouTube by someone that I follow that I love her work and her enthusiasm. That's Lisa Clow from La Cree Fine Art. And she did a demo where she compared the traditional CADs and the acrylic paints with the ones that don't, cadmium free ones, and they looked identical. So I may switch to that when I run out of these. I'm certain I'll switch to that when I run out of these. So since this is a cylinder where the petal is furling over, just like you learn to draw your primary shapes to learn form and shading and all that stuff, that means it's going to be lighter where it's kind of coming to you. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this cad orange kind of in the middle. And the best way to lighten red is not with white, because all you get is pink. It's to use yellow or orange. Anyway, this is kind of just a start. My reference photo, this is a little bit darker right here. Again, because this is a cylinder, I'm going to make this lighter, this darker, and then the shadow darken this under here. Hi y'all. So today's the last day. I'm gonna work on my Bird of Paradise painting. It's been 3 full days. This is my first YouTube video, or at least my first attempt. We're really close. I like the way it looks, I like how vibrant it is. Compared to the original painting that I did back in October that was a commission, it's the flower, it's very close, it's very similar. Sitting back and looking at it last night and this morning, I see some things that I want to fix. I'm not happy with this petal, and this fish mouth looking thing needs to go. I'd like to overall brighten all of these petals with a little more of a very pale yellow that I'm going to do lemon yellow and white and some glazing medium to thin it down, but I think it'll overall brighten it. Add a couple little streaks of the red and orange, like here. I'd like to add just a couple more. It just really makes it lively, I think, and ties the leaves in with the flowers. I love these little streaks of red down here. It just kind of brightens up all this darkness. And you have like an impression of vegetation of some sort in the background because it's kind of blurry and sort of abstract, and did a little here as well. And you'll notice that these are curved and these are curved in towards the picture, just to help keep the eye moving around. So if you like, follow me along and we'll finish this up today and sign it and call it done. So I'm covering up these areas that need a more drastic correction with my heavy body titanium white. I mixed up a shadow color to differentiate between the petals and to add a little bit of depth with the light red, the light yellow, and just a tiny bit of burnt umber. And also in a few little spots I put a little glaze of magenta. I'm really happy how it turned out. This is the finished product. I'm definitely keeping it and hanging it in my house. I'd be honored if you'd leave me a like or a comment in the section below, and thank you so much for watching.